Hello everyone, I'm Rashmi Banjari and I've got two of my students. I've got Dharitri.
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah, Dharitri is from the CS branch and Krishnanand from the EC.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So nice to see both of them, and they have cleared SAP labs. Okay, they've got through the Scholar at SAP. It's an integrated program, right, with BITS Pilani.
Yes.
So can you tell a little bit more about it?
Yes, basically it is a work integrated platform wherein we would get an opportunity to do our MTech, which is a span of 2 years, and post that we would be given the actual position. So first 1.5 years we would have 7 months of rotation, like we would have to work in 3 different domains and we would be allotted mentors. So this is a great opportunity to learn as well as to get an experience in the industry.
Alright, great. So do you remember what's the designation and what is the package that they're offering?
Yeah, the main thing was eligibility criteria. The eligibility criteria was 70% throughout the BE plus 60% in 10th and 12th.
Throughout BE means every semester?
Yeah, no, not every semester, whole average.
Average, okay.
Yeah. And then like they mentioned for 4 branches, like it was for CS, IS, then EC and Triple E.
Okay.
And then like coming into SAP, like it's a learning integrated program where we'll be getting MTech degree from BITS Pilani, and we are working on some technologies like ML, AI, then blockchain or whatever what and all we have interest.
Mm-hmm.
They will be providing some mentors and all, and they will be clearing all the doubts if you have any doubts and all. And coming into package, like for the first 1.5 years it will be around 6.5 CTC, I guess, and after 1.5 years they will be providing in the range of like 10 to 15.
Okay, so that's the package after you finish. Alright, so then what are the roles, what are the rounds? Yeah.
Yeah, basically first round would be a self-assessment round. That was a Google form wherein we were asked few questions on why you want to join SAP, what are the roles you're looking forward, where do you see yourself in post like 5 years, and we were asked to upload our resume as well as the GitHub link. So now this is one major thing which I would like to suggest. Most of us don't maintain a GitHub profile. In fact, even it's very important for everyone to maintain a GitHub profile wherein you will upload all your projects, the details of how what you have worked on. So based on that we were filtered, and from our college 6 of us were selected.
So can you imagine, so many students and only 6 shortlisted, and many said we didn't know that Google form was an elimination. So take it that every round, even if it's just filling a form, it's actually an elimination. Yeah.
Because they will go through the GitHub profile first.
Yeah, GitHub, and also why do you want to join SAP and
Yeah,
all
that
that, right?
happens, yeah.
So naturally it's all for
Like in
filtration.
self-assessment they asked like after getting into SAP what and all technologies you will work, then why only SAP you are choosing, then mention your primary skills, then secondary skills, like those questions.
Alright.
Based on those, I guess they have chosen.
Yeah, they have filtered based on
And
that.
they would check out if you have actually the knowledge of what SAP is.
Yeah.
Do they offer the MTech course? Most of them might not have gone through the description, or they might have just studied some direct job opportunity. But it's very important to know what we are applying for.
Alright, okay. So after that, what was the next round?
Next round was like there were 2 technical rounds and then 1 HR round. I guess 2 technical rounds each of 1 hour nearly. And the technical round was completely online, both the rounds. And the first round when he started, I got one interviewer and he started.
It was not written, it was interview itself.
Yeah, interview.
Oh, straight away interview.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you don't have apti, you don't have any
No,
coding.
We didn't have apti.
I
Coding
guess
was not
instead
very
of
Okay.
apti this time they arranged that self-assessment.
Alright.
First round technical interview, he started with my self introduction. He told introduce yourself, then he asked about my family, then natives and all. That and all I explained him. Then he told we'll move to technical things. Then after that he started with HTML for me. I mentioned HTML in resume where it was first in that resume, and he started with HTML, and I think he mainly focused on practical things. He didn't ask any theoretical questions, he only asked practical questions. Then he moved into OOPS concepts. I guess in SAP OOPS is the most important concept they will focus on, because I guess almost everything he asked from object oriented programming, including abstract classes, interfaces. Then firstly I asked about 4 features, then real world examples, then explain all those features. Then OOPS concept, I guess, if anyone wants to get into SAP, he must focus on OOPS concept. Like completely, he have to study OOPS. Then after OOPS, I guess I answered everything in OOPS, and he was satisfied with my answers. And then he moved to DSA, I guess, data structures and algorithms. In data structures, he started with like, what and all you know about data structures, because I was from EC and he knew that, and he told, I know you are from EC, and you tell now what and all you know about data structures. I told, sir, I studied about linear data structures. I exactly don't know in depth about non-linear data structures. And he asked, what is linear and non-linear? I told him difference, like in linear it will be like linked list, arrays, stacks and queues. Then in non-linear, graphs and trees I didn't study it exactly like in depth. And then he told, okay, we'll start with linear only. He asked like definitions and all. How do you tell linked list is better than array? Then compare stacks and queues. Like those questions he asked. That and all I completely answered. Then he was like, now we'll start with program only. He asked me which language you choose. He gave options like C, C++, Python. I told him like I prefer Java. And
Okay.
he was like, okay, from EC you are choosing Java, it's great. And he told, okay, open your notepad. Then he gave a question like, in linked list, he told, first create a linked list. Then I will be giving a node and I will be giving a number. That number will be k. You have to traverse to that number k, and you have to insert that node which I gave to the kth position. And that was the question, and I solved that.
Okay.
And he was like, okay. Then he told, now we'll be moving into practical OOPS things. He told again to open notepad. Then he told, write a class of circle, then write constructors, that thing, this thing. That OOPS concept and all again I did. Then he was like, okay, these OOPS and DSA, he thought, I guess, he was satisfied with my answers.
Alright.
Then he started with operating systems, I guess. In operating systems, not much. Like he asked just basics questions, like what is operating system, what are the applications, then 1, 2 to 3 questions. Then like he moved into DBMS. Then he asked some questions in DBMS, like he directly moved into SQL. And in SQL he gave a table. And he told, I want this employee from that table. I want this employee from these places based on some conditions. He gave some conditions, and he told, write a query to get those peoples in from that table. And I was like, I knew SQL and I mentioned also in my resume, and I solved that. And he was like, okay, now SQL also done.
Alright.
Then like yeah, in first round technical interview it was like all these things were covered,
these.
and it took like nearly 1 hour 15 minutes.
Alright. So it's a long interview.
Yeah.
How was it for you, Daritri?
For me also it was 1 hour long. But for me, the interview basically she focused more on data structure. My entire interview was on data structure, one subject.
Why? Because you had written something on data structure?
Basically data structure is a core main subject for computer science students and is really important for programming. And I had written Python programming in my resume. So first she asked me to introduce myself. I introduced myself. Post which she asked a puzzle. Like she gave me a puzzle. It was like there are 5 sticks and 10 balls. You have to place 4 balls each in each of the sticks. Now how will you place it? There are obviously when we think we can't, there will be 2 balls left out. So she was mainly looking forward for your approach. She didn't mind if the answer is wrong. So I just suggested her, I just told her that we'd have to intersect the sticks first and then place the balls at the intersection point. So my approach was right, but I didn't tell the shape, exact shape. The answer was supposed to be a star and you have to place the ball in the intersection points. But somewhere my approach was right, so she was satisfied. Post which she asked a basic data structure question, like most of the things which was asked to Krishnananda itself. Linked list, arrays, time complexity of all the linear, non-linear and linear data structures. And after that she asked me to write a program. She was like, there is a string and you will have to print the data which has been repeated. A separate, she asked me to execute it in Python itself because I mentioned Python. In my case, my resume itself was like a question paper. She would go through all the points, even my internship for like I had done a non-technical internship which was more, it was a business related one. So she asked like, how will you, if your company goes into loss, how will you deal with it? So whatever you mention in your resume, they would like, ask over it. Like even if you have volunteered some events, they would ask about the events. Then after that she came to technical again, and then she asked me on hash table, hash map, hash value. Then she asked me if you could
Like what questions? They ask definitions or application?
they asked me first for all the concepts they asked the definitions first, post which they would ask you an application of that concept. After that they would ask you how will you implement it. So these are the procedure which was followed for me basically. After that she gave me a tree, the nodes, what are the values of the tree nodes. She asked me to construct a binary tree. After that she was like, write the post order, pre-order, in order of the tree. Again the tree was not, after constructing we realized, okay, this is not not the easiest one. I mean there was some tricky aspect in that also. Again after that she was very general to me. She came to projects. Now my resume is mainly focused on projects. I have been working on like around 5 of the major projects.
Oh, that's a good number, right?
Yeah.
Very few students. How many projects did you have?
I only mentioned like 2 projects in my
Okay.
resume, but I had more.
All right. So you mentioned all 5.
Not all 5. I had more, but 5
Yeah.
because I had started off right from first year.
All right.
Like working on project. Now she asked like, how did you come up with the problem statement? Now this is somewhere where I feel I had a plus point, because whenever I would take up some project, I would make sure that I can involve myself. For example, the first one was dysmenorrhea massager belt. That is an menstrual cramp massager relief belt. So this is something which every female will face. So I could involve myself and I could tell like what could be included. Then I worked on early detection of breast cancer using thermal images. Again, that is somewhere social, wherein we would get to know the problems. Then she came to my DBMS project. She's like, how come you came up with this topic? It was related to bus collecting system. So she's like, how it's a unique topic. Again, that was like my dad owns a bus. So somewhere I had an idea, this is an issue faced by the bus owners. So somewhere I should come up with something which is useful for myself. So I worked on that. Then she came to technical aspect of that. She was like, whenever we come up with a project, we won't use the same technology for all the projects. We will be using different technologies, different databases. So she compared, we have worked on 2 of the databases, MySQL and Firebase. Now, which one do you think is better? Which one has a plus point? Now, both the databases have their own unique plus points. So, Firebase is good for cloud, and it's really useful when it comes for authentication. Again, MySQL is easy to retrieve the data, create the data, insert the data. So somewhere she felt that, this girl has a knowledge, not just technical knowledge, but how to come up with a project, how to approach, what are the procedures that is being followed actually. But what I feel is majority of them, when it comes to project, they do it just for the sake of academics. Like first they will go and check if there is a source code available, if it is in GitHub. That is a major thing which actually everyone will do. Most of them. Like there are hardly few people who will take up initiative of doing something on their own. So that is a major plus point.
Okay, you felt because you have done so many projects on your own.
And one more thing is, because of the COVID pandemic, obviously they won't give attention to your academic score or academic marks. They will check in where you have invested your time on during the COVID time.
Okay.
So these were the projects wherein I had worked on.
Alright, so that helped you. Okay, so that was the first round, and then you had a second round.
Yeah. After first round, they sent again a mail around 2, I guess. In that
day.
mail, they
It was
mentioned.
again a shortlist one. Only few of us are selected.
Alright.
It was not only for Sahyadri, I guess.
There were around
Other college.
130.
Other college,
Okay.
around.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, then after first round they sent a mail again for the second round. Then after the second round begin, I guess around 2:45 something. For me it was 3 to 4:15, I guess. Again 1 hour something.
All right.
Yeah, in the second round, interviewer was different someone, and he started with cloud technology, I guess. For me, he directly entered into technology, like what and all technologies you know. Then I told I know some of the basics of machine learning, then some AI, then cloud technologies I didn't mention only, but also he started with what you know about cloud technology. Then I had some basic knowledges about that cloud technology, and I started explaining him what is cloud, then why it is used, then applications and all. He was okay. Then he told how do you relate it with DBMS? Then why you are using cloud only after this one, this SQL and all. Then I started answering those questions. Like I exactly didn't knew those, but I like tried to answer those questions, and then he was like, okay, you answered some of the questions correctly, and then he started with some CN concepts, computer networks. And computer networks, he asked like, you studied computer networks. I told I didn't went into depth, but I know some of the concepts. And he asked, can you mention some of the layers which are present? And I told like physical layers, data link layer and all. And he was like, can you explain any one layer in brief? I told I exactly didn't knew about that, and I told I didn't had that subject, and I don't know about that. And he told okay, that's fine, and he moved to, can you give the difference between IPv4 and IPv6 in CN only, IPv4 and IPv6, then can you give the difference between TCP and UDP? And then after CN, he again moved to OOPS concept. I guess that OOPS concept is very much important in SAP. In second round also they started asking OOPS concept. In OOPS concept again he started with 4 features, then some these things constructors, then some singleton design pattern and all he asked, I guess. Then after OOPS concept again he asked DSA concepts. DSA concepts in second round he didn't went practically, but he asked some of the theoretical questions like what do you know about DSA, then why it is used, why array is used, and then why linked list is better than array. Those questions again he asked. And then like he went to my resume and he told like what and all the experience you have. I mentioned some experience like I had I am in SOSA, I am the current member of SOSA, and also I am current member of IEEE. I told those things, and then I had one internship, I think. And then he went into projects like, can you explain your project whole thing? And I started like I knew everything about my project, which I mentioned first thing was a mini project, and I started explaining like it was based on machine learning, and the thing was it was the system for the disabled peoples, like someone who can't see. For them it was a smart glass system. They can like it will convert the text into speech, like it will tell those people like what is written in front of them. And I explained him whole thing like what and all tools and technologies we used and why we did these things only. He asked again, why you choose this project only, you can did any other projects also. And I explained him like why we did this only, what is the applications, how we can take this project into like wider scopes and all. And he was like okay. Then he told, I guess in second round interview he more focused on OOPS and projects only. And then like he was like okay, then he told wait for the results, we'll see you.
Alright, so you were sort of hopeful, you had some sort of an idea that you'll clear?
In second round like I was 50-50, like
Okay.
I answered some of the questions, and some of the questions like I was not aware of. And like he was like after that he asked any questions you have. Then I asked like how was my performance and all, then what should I improve, then
Okay.
then he told something and all. And the major thing I guess in interviews, confidence will matter, like they will check confidence again and again, like the guy is confident about his answer or he is just guessing something. They in second round also they again checked my confidence level, and I was confident about my answers and all, project also.
Yeah.
And then he was like yeah, wait for the results, we'll see.
Okay. Just this thing is, whenever they ask you that any questions for us, so maybe you should ask something which about the company or something, or about the role or something.
Yeah.
Don't ask about your performance. That's not a very good thing to ask because naturally the result will be out, right? So that is not. But if you had some doubt about what they asked and you wanted his answer, then it's all right. Okay.
Yeah.
Otherwise, maybe something other than that.
Yeah,
And
I
think
asked
that,
this one also, like how can I improve myself if I will join there,
Okay,
and
okay.
what and all technologies should I work on,
All
like
right.
those things.
So, and one more thing is, I think that's a standard question nowadays which everyone is asking.
Yeah.
How is your experience in the company? Please don't ask that. Okay, please
Yeah.
don't ask. It has been asked by everybody. How is your experience in the company? Okay, so
Yeah.
I think you can give that to skip and try to ask something much more, because that is asked by, I believe everyone is asking the same question. All right? Yeah. So, how was your second round, Daritri?
Okay, my second round was again, it was really nice. This time the interviewer was a senior technical person. So he focused more on, he asked me which is my favorite subject. I told him data structures. So he would have the report of the previous interview, first round. So it's like you were asked a question on data structures. So I won't ask questions on data structures. So he covered OOPS concepts, CN and OS. Questions are very much similar to what Krishna Nanda had. How the approach what they followed is like they would ask question. Now, for example, what is binary or what are the layers? Then they would ask the follow-up question would be on the answer what you have given. So they would keep on asking question till the point where we reach, we won't be able to answer the question. Post that he would change the subject. That was the pattern which he would follow. First he asked me basic data structure question like what is arrays, what are linked list concepts. After that he came to OS. OS he asked me was the layers, and after that he came to what is FTP, what is HTTP, what are the implementations of it. Then basic OS. Basically the second one was more of like theoretical, and he just wanted to know how can I apply it, or what are my real life knowledge on the concepts. So they were not expecting theoretical answers. After that he came to computer networks. In networking he asked the details of every layers. After that he was like some basic question which basically everyone would be knowing, but he would expect me to answer more like in depth. That is what. After that he went to the resume, and again my internship was on business development internship. So he asked me, if you are running a business, imagine you are running a restaurant business and you run into losses, customers aren't coming to your restaurant, what will you be doing at that point of time? So I was like, first I'll analyze the interest of the customer based on the previous report. Like I was thinking how I could relate it to technical, like machine learning. There is something known as customer analyzing concept. So I told him that way, and after that I was like, we can do marketing. He was impressed with the answer, and after that he asked me like, have you gone through do you know the products which SAP is working on? So I told him some of the products, and I told him where I could work on. Basically, he really wanted to know where I would work on. So I told him I could work on there is something known as HANA product which is on database. So he was like, okay, fine. Then he told, when you open the SAP website, what is the first thing you see in there? I just told him there are like products of SAP and what is SAP. But he was like, no, you are missing out something. He's like, tagline. So he asked me the tagline of SAP as well.
So you remember?
Yeah, thankfully, it didn't flash me at that point of time, but I could tell it later on.
But what, you remember it now?
Yeah, we build breakthroughs together. That is one. We build breakthrough together.
All right. Okay. So very important, because sometimes what happens is the tagline changes also.
Yeah.
So it was something different, and then it can be something different. So always have a check on that.
This is a newer tagline.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in the second round interview for me also, that one question asked it like, I'll be giving a situation where you are working in some team in our company only. Like some client will come to you and he will ask to build some websites or apps or some solutions he will ask from you, and what will be the steps that you will carry. Like mention some 4 to 5 steps that you will carry to give him some products, good products. That question he again asked me. Yeah.
You were mentioning something, right? That the interviewer before this, your name got.
In the first round of interview, there was a girl with my name is Daritri. So when I introduced myself, I'm Daritri Rai from Sayadri College of Engineering. She stopped me. She's like, she was actually having the resume of the other girl who was in some other college. So she was like. The major point which we should remember is whenever there's an online interview, it's better to put our names and the college in the chat box itself. So there are possibilities that there are multiple people with similar names. Yeah. So the resume might get misplaced.
And maybe someone else also gets shortlisted thinking that this is somebody else. Yeah. All right. And then after this, you had a final round, is it?
Yeah, that was HR round.
HR
Like,
round.
It was a
we got the result around that day, 5 or 6, I guess.
Okay,
evening.
that day itself. And
Yeah.
what was the HR round about?
HR round, like they mentioned, it was a vocational or training round, and in the HR round, like it was around 10 to 15 minutes, I guess, that much only. And in HR round, they asked about like started with self introduction only, and after self introduction, they asked about like what do you know about our company SAP. Then like that much only, and then they started explaining like what and all you are doing, like MTech, about MTech degree.
Okay.
Then yeah.
So they explained more. So
Yeah.
for you?
For me, she asked majorly on like managerial questions. Like, imagine you are into SAP now, and we have that 7-month rotation wherein we have to select the domain at the beginning. But they have again like limited students for this domain. Imagine I told I am interested in web app development. So now web app development, some of my colleagues or some of the students has already taken up. So, and you are given some other technologies to work on, like cloud or any AI/ML. So will you be ready to take it up? That is a question she asked me. That is definitely yes. Like we will be getting mentorship from them, and they will be training us. So it is a really good opportunity for us to work on.
Yeah, basically you need to be flexible. So it's not that I want to work on this and if you don't give me this, I'll not be very happy. Okay.
Then she asked me if you're imagine you're working on a project and now you get another offer within the within SAP itself to work on some other project. So what will you do at that point of time? Will you be flexible to, again, the major aspect there is again flexibility. Will you be flexible to work on multiple projects at the same time? I was like, I'm totally flexible with that.
Yeah. All right. So they just want to see a cultural fit. But again, HR round was an elimination and
Yeah.
I think a few people got rejected.
Eliminated, yeah.
Got rejected. So it's not like, oh, I've cleared technical and
Yeah,
nothing's
yeah.
going to happen in the HR. All right. Any tips for your juniors or the viewers who are watching?
Yeah, majorly everyone when theoretical knowledge is a must, but then we should know how to implement it. That is a major thing which I felt is really important when we get into companies also. Like
Okay.
we should know how to implement our knowledge.
Yeah. And this
The thing is,
competitive
I want to
coding, I
tell,
think,
like,
because all the companies, you know, they majorly say competitive coding
Yeah,
is
yeah.
missing. It's absolutely missing, and I think people start very late, and you can't crack good companies without getting into it right at the
Yeah.
beginning.
Like some of the companies will conduct the tests in those platforms only, like HackerRank, HackerR, and if we are familiar with those platforms and all earlier only, we can directly solve those questions easily. Like there will be some questions like based on arrays, strings. Those questions will be getting repeated in each and every companies. Like they will ask those questions again and again. In those platform only they will conduct tests. So it will be really helpful if everyone will start learning those concepts and applying those concepts earlier only. Like start your competitive coding and all, like HackerRank, HackerR or CodeChef. Those things in your third or second year only. It will
Not
be really
third year. Third year is when, you know, third year is so
No,
late.
like,
Yeah,
now
start
they are
off.
in
Yeah. No, third year, I mean, it's almost like, you know, please, you know, you're already sort of very late. But if you're in the first year, second year, start off. Don't wait. Don't wait.
And the main thing is like please focus on your projects, that it will be really helpful for you, like how many projects you build, and also it's not about the numbers how many you built, it's about the knowledge that you got in those projects. Like while building you should know what and all the tools and technologies you built and used. Then like if it's machine learning, you should know like how to implement and all. Then those things, yeah.
There is one more aspect regarding the project. Like we might be working in team, like 2 of us in a
Yeah.
project. The question, I might be working on one technology, my partner might be working on another technology, but then interviewer will ask the question of
Yeah.
the partner itself.
Yes, it's your,
So
it's, yeah,
you
you
should
should
be
know
knowing
everything.
everything of the
Yeah.
project.
Yeah, and the main thing is like please involve in those hackathons and all. Like tomorrow another hackathon is the dev host from SOSC only. Like being a member of SOSC, like I felt that I really upgraded myself from last few years. Like after joining SOSC, I got into some new technologies and all. I worked on some projects. Then like basically it's a open source community where we will train some juniors and all, like first years and second years. We will give some training and all, we will conduct some workshops. Then it will be really helpful for them to enter into companies. Like today again 4 workshops were there, like based on DBMS, SQL, then React.js again it was happened yesterday. And these technologies again companies will ask you in your interviews, and it will be helpful for you in your project building skills and all. Yeah, please try to involve yourself in those hackathons and some communities like SOSC or IEEE, something like that.
Then particular to SAP, you can go through, there are previous year questions which is being published in Geeks for Geeks. That is really helpful. Like there are more than 20 of previous year papers.
All right.